Welcome, everyone, to special holiday edition year-end in review of Morning Bytes. Morning Bytes is our monthly show where Violet, Jason, and I get to talk about all things cyber, some of the latest cyber stories facing you and everyone listening in. Welcome to the show. Today we have a very special guest with us, all the way from Ambridge Insurance, is Shanna Sadowski, and Cyber's own Sean Melito from Lyra Recovery. Welcome to the show, guys. We really only have one rule. Don't plug your services. Don't plug yourself. The only thing we're here to do is have some fun. The views and opinions and other things expressed by the participants of this show reflect only those of the participants, and especially not their employers. With that, let's get started. We are going to be talking about a year in review. We hope you enjoy the show. It's been an awesome year for cyber. Busy. We've had claims. We've had advances in underwriting, new technologies, and we're going to talk about it all. Starting with the summary story, which is 2024 was the year of. Jason, why don't you kick us off?
I mean, I was gonna say info stealers, but I think like your announcer voice might be taking the top spot there. That was amazing.
I'll
So
take it.
for me, I look at 2024 as this significant rise in info stealers. And when we say info stealer, it's really basic malware, right? It gets on your system, usually from some sort of malvertising, maybe some phishing, and you're clicking on something, installing software that you think is legitimate, but it's actually just malware that steals all of your passwords that are stored in browsers. It will steal session cookies that attackers can use to log into your applications. And so for me, I feel like it's like early 2000s again, where it's just the most basic spyware possible, but stupid effective in allowing attackers to steal your credentials and then go and log into various applications. And so there are little things where you can see ransomware actors starting to use this to try to get access into environments, but also some major issues that popped up. I think there was a telecom in Spain that had their credentials lost for some critical networking gear. An attacker was able to get into that and then shut down literally, I think it was like 70% of the network in Spain. And so something so small leads to just really bad, disastrous results. So for me, like info stealers, that was the thing that I was paying very close attention to in 2024.
And Jason, do you think that means is that indicative of a democratization of ransomware or spreading amongst the lower tech crowd, the not as highly sophisticated crowd?
So democratization of anything is a trigger word for me. So I'm not going to say it's that.
Sorry.
But
I was actually going to say I loved it.
I can't stand it. It triggers me anytime I hear it. But I think there's some validity to that, right? Because what you have is really this. It's more of specialization. So you have these info stealers that are being sold as a service, and so I mean we've been saying this for years with
They're
ransomware.
handing off the entry to, it's like that data entry point. They're handing off to someone to actually then commit another crime.
Exactly. So you can really go deep on one skill set, but you have this whole ecosystem that's there that connects these cyber criminals together. So you don't have to be an expert in everything. You just need to be an expert in one thing and then outsource the rest.
All right.
Well, speaking of cyber criminals, can we move on to Shanna running through some of the cyber criminals we've seen?
No. I have a strategy here.
Okay,
we got to wait. We have a lot of time today. Let's take our time. I want to hear from you. What 2024 was the year of?
Oh, me or Violet?
Oh. Who was supposed to talk? I didn't know.
You go first, Violet. 2024 was the year of
privacy.
All right.
I think 23 was, but 24 ratcheted it up with every state, not every state, so many states introducing new privacy laws, so many states moving forward on one that were already in the legislative session of last year. It just became a cool thing all of a sudden. Privacy used to be a nerdy subject that nobody wanted to touch and everyone wanted to be cool cyber. And now privacy is rising up, and I think they're starting to be part of the discussion now, even in insurance conversations, which I think is very interesting because of all of the risk coming from the uncertainty of privacy litigation and the regulators.
Shana, you work at an insurance company. Is that what you're seeing also with the privacy?
Yeah, we're also seeing, our underwriters striving to, build more knowledge. So we're pulling in, industry knowledge from, people like you guys and bringing it in house and trying to underwrite risks to, make it make sense for our portfolio. And so off of that, I'd say 2024 for the underwriters has been a year of stabilizing and getting more smart with the deals that we're putting on our books. I say to my team, does the deal seem like it's a win just for the deal, or is it a win for our entire portfolio? And from that, we've been successful on that road.
So for you, 2024 is the year of underwriting stabilization.
Yeah. So in 2021, the hard market went haywire. Capacity was very, very thin. Underwriters were able to, basically name your price. And since then, we have new carriers, new MGAs coming into the market, and premiums up for grabs. So at this point, we're okay with losing some risks, but at the same time, we're trying to position our book so that if we do have a big, say, systemic risk, say a CDK that happens in the future, the premiums that we have on our book are able to pay for those losses down the road.
Nothing fills me with holiday cheer more than underwriting stabilization, I must say.
That's actually the sexiest one, not privacy and
Yeah.
It's underwriting stabilization.
Sean, I don't think you're going to be able to compete with that. 2024 was the year of
John Melito stabilization.
Yes.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
Well done.
Who knew I could be at a place for more than a year? Actually, that touches on it. Let's be honest. Nobody on this podcast is interested at all in my take on insurance or privacy legislation. So I'm going to look internally within the industry. Every year has always been a year of a lot of movement within the industry. Even some, really weird stuff like, breach coaches going into insurance and the other way around. But just, the amount of movement within the industry and new roles and exciting announcements. I of course will name no names, but I think it really highlights this year how important it is to listen to your employees, trust them in their knowledge of the market, and if you don't, they may just get up and go somewhere else.
2024 was the year of movement. That is for sure. All right, let's move on. Val, can you share the thing back on the screen for the next one?
Oh, now you want me.
Stu has upped the production value of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll add in, I see some comments on the side, Leo. I think privacy was always cool as well. I don't know why.
I really want to argue this.
I want to argue this too.
I'm on Team Cyber here.
Oh, well,
I'm objective.
puppies and kittens are both adorable. All right. Sean, let's stay with you. Cyber story of the year, 2024.
So this is kind of a whole, it's a bundle together for me. It's a number of stories tied together, but there's the same sort of overarching theme to it. The example I'm going to use is the Francis Scott Key Bridge and how, that massive container ship, ran into the side of it. People unfortunately passed away and the bridge now has to be rebuilt and all of that. For me, it was just the constant need for, and I get it. It's we all work in a very cool industry. It's up and coming, really, really interesting stories, but just the warning that not everything is about us. There are certain stories and trying to jump on a story as, oh, that ship was definitely the victim of a cyber attack. And I know because of X, Y, and Z, even though, shipping experts are saying, no, that does happen occasionally. It just happened at a very bad time. That, not everything is about cyber. And this second half of that is, not every time is a good time to sell your services. if a really bad thing happens, the next day sending out an email about services that you have that, potentially, fight against, sometimes you may want to wait and not sell immediately the day after, or jump on the train of solves everything. So.
Well, I remember seeing that quite a bit when I was doing IR, where you go in and once that thing goes public, you just have all these sales emails coming in, and it's like, hey, first of all, it's like, hey, we can help you in whatever it is. And then two, it's, hey, if you had our technology, you wouldn't be in this position in the first place, which that never goes over well. It happens all over the place, which is it's a shame, really.
Yeah, and it kind of sullies the reputation of the industry as well too. So just a fair warning to those on the call and those within our reach that may want to hold off a little bit.
So Sean Melitos and all of our messages, if you're doing that, knock it off. All right. Jason, you spoke up. What's your cyber story of the year, 2024?
So I think this is actually going to go into some of the underwriter stabilization. It's the fact that we had so many of these systemic events this year, and the industry is still standing, which is crazy, right? You got the large healthcare facility. You've got the CrowdStrike incident, which I think Microsoft is now just calling the July incident, and then CDK. And that to me is like, this is probably one of the hardest challenges that you can really try to address of like, how do you identify these types of systemic risks? And then, from the insurance perspective, how do you actually protect your business from that? And I think it's a question that a lot of companies are still struggling with, but the fact that, we were able to withstand it and, obviously still going through some of that, that to me is like, this was the year of really just dealing with the systemic events one after the other. It's like everything we always hope we never had to deal with. And then we got three of them in a single year. So I'm lumping all three of those stories into one.
And each one of those that you mentioned and others are also, I think, reflected how connected the digital supply chain really is. Mm-hmm. And Shane, I'll flip it back to you. But as underwriters, what the trick is not only to understand the risks relating to the person on the application, but also to the folks that they do business with upstream and downstreams. And that is a lesson we got hit over the head with again and again in 2024. But Shane, what's your story of the year? Cyber story of the year?
I didn't prepare one.
Why didn't you chat one up? All right, we can skip you, Violet.
I'm going to echo. I'm with Shanna. I didn't come in here with a story this time because we have other stuff to go on year in review. But Jason mentioning, and I want to call it the July incident now too, because I feel like I know, July 19th and 2:30 in the morning of July 19th. Like I know that is something that I will remember always, just like a lot of other big infamous dates in our heads. I think that was my story of the year too, because that specifically made cybersecurity and words that we know a household name or something that people talked about and wondered about. I happened to be at the airport that morning. I luckily got out of the airport, but it cracked me up standing in the TSA line and hearing everybody started to read these articles, and they were reading aloud, like to each other, like trying to interpret the cybersecurity words. And they were like, oh yeah, it's endpoints. And then they were having to like look up what endpoints were. It just cracked me up that everyone wanted to learn more about. I don't know if they wanted to learn more, but they
didn't have a choice.
They sounded like they were trying to be an expert. And it to me, that really to me validated, again, to your point, the need for cyber insurance, this industry, because of how well I think it was responded to. And not, big picture, there were losses, of course, but kind of in hindsight, we can look back at that and be like, wow, that could have been so much worse. And that wasn't even a cyber incident. It was a systems incident. It was something.
So, Violet, I don't know if you intended to do that, but you very neatly circled us back to Sean Melito's earlier point, which is it's not all about us, right? I mean, everyone kept calling that a cyber situation, but it not really, right? It really had nothing to do with an attack or any sort of the thing that we're really doing business for.
Yeah, in fact, it's like the not cyber story of the year.
All right. Well, no, no. You teased it earlier. This we thought would be a fun segment to do, which I will turn over to Shayna, who was prepared more than us. But Violet, do you want to throw up the title card so the audience is prepared?
Yes.
We got to find a better way to like manage the back office here.
Oh, you
Morning
mean
Bites.
communicate? Yes.
We'll work on that one. We call this is the hot or not segment, and we thought it'd be a lot of fun to just go talk about some of the groups that we have the situational circumstances to do business with on a day-to-day basis in our industry sector, and decide.
You're
as a
using
group, is
too
it
nice of
hot
a
or
words for
not?
bad guys. Your words are too flowery.
Well, I
Threat
figured
actors, bad
Shayna
guys.
could bring us home on that one. Go ahead.
All right, so we're going to go through some threat actor groups, and we're just going to rank them as hot or not. And if the, I feel like if we're warm about them, I think that's okay too. So first one is
Wait. Quick question on the rules. Is this hot or not? Whether we think the name is hot or not?
Yes.
Or okay, so it's not like whether we like them or not. Just to clarify, right?
We don't.
Yeah.
They're all knots in that regard.
They're all not.
Bad.
We don't condone
They're
or
criminals.
we don't condone or support threat actors in any way. We're just gonna make fun of their names.
Yes, exactly. All right, so we've got Black Basta.
Hot.
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 Really? That's a no for me. Yeah.
Oh.
Black Basta.
No.
Like it just
Sounds like a
Like
bad
a pirate,
Italian.
right? It's like named after a pirate, and like they're pirates. I think I was like going through the whole pirate thing.
All right, we've got
Sounds like a bad Rastafarian rapper.
All right, we got one. Scattered Spiders. I don't like it.
Not.
No, I kind of like it.
Jason likes that one. What
I
do you
kind of
think?
like it.
All right, Space Bears.
Absolutely. Yeah. What, Sean? No?
No, Space Bears. It sounds like a bad 1990s animated show.
No, see,
Sounds like an
It's like
awesome
Care Bears in
1990s
space.
animated show.
we need to go to ChatGPT and generate some images of this, because I need a bear that is floating in space in a nice little astronaut outfit there.
If we
Space
had
Bear.
our technology together, like this would be next year's iteration of 2005 in review. Is we're gonna do live AI generations of weird things that we say.
Yes. The Dragon Force.
Hot.
There's another.
80s
Not-
rock band. No.
No.
It's too forceful.
Okay.
They're trying too hard.
They're trying too hard.
All right, this one, you guys will think they're trying too hard. Mr. Hamza.
Sounds like a Die Hard villain.
It's
Yeah.
sounds like,
Or your gym teacher.
Fun villain.
Yeah, it sounds
like the
a
old
lame
man who
gym
lives down the
teacher.
street. All right, and you guys liked this one because I couldn't pronounce it. Being Liam?
No one can pronounce it. Yeah.
No one knows.
No.
No,
So we'll
I'm not
put
gonna
it
try.
not.
Not.
hard no.
Let's
Any
get.
others?
No, I just think they need to get more creative with their names.
Mhm.
This
I
is
feel like the
problem.
worst one is clop. Like it's just clop. Like
Well, then,
This
like the
sounds-
ransomware groups, they have a choice in this, right? Like
Yeah.
some of these groups are just getting randomly assigned by security researchers, where we have like 5 names for one group. But yeah, like ransomware groups, they need to hit some brainstorming sessions before they go live with some of these.
yeah, I want some more puns or like let's use the
Yeah.
same letter twice and I don't know, some
Yeah.
way alliteration. I feel like you could do a lot more with word creativity.
Mhm.
Yeah, Ransom Hub. That's like on the nose, right?
Give me money, just like that's just the name.
Yeah,
Cash
we
cow.
had Akira kept showing up a lot this year. There was certainly an Asian theme. There was a lot of pandas for some reason. A lot of threat actors were panda. So
Well, what
what's
about
going
you,
on.
Stu? What is your story, year of blank and story of the year?
My story of the I wasn't prepared because I was preparing, getting everyone to
You were
facilitate
corralling
this
us.
this conversation.
But don't you have something? What's that on your shirt? You have something cool on your shirt. Hashtag, what does it say?
Everyone knows my Friday funnies, but
Friday
so
funny.
I'll do the announcement now. and then we can go back into the next segment of the show. But very special announcement. I teased it on the comment following the Friday Funny, but have launched a website to collect all of the Friday Funnies. So everyone should, right after the show, not during the show, go to the internet and visit fridayfunny.law, fridayfunny.law. It's very easy to remember, very easy to load. It won't like slow down your whole iPhone or anything, and no lot of flashy stuff, just the memes.
In
So,
fact, you
hope
should pull
everyone
it up
enjoys
because
it.
now we know how to screen share. So at the end, we can screen share it.
Okay, there you go. Fridayfunny.law. Enjoy.
Do we need to discuss the privacy settings on it?
Yeah.
There are
No, there
privacy
isn't
there.
except cookie on it. I already clicked give away everything.
Is it just the memes, or does it also include all of my hilarious comments to those memes?
No, again, I'm trying to make it easy for the people, and but I try to have some lighthearted fun. I'm always open to suggestions. I'm very easy to find.
My
So,
favorite part, I scroll to the bottom and there's testimonials. So some of the comments that we've been providing over the years are in the testimonials, and they'll make you crack up because one testimonial is just like the crying, laughing emoji, and that's it. And it's credited to somebody. It's like it
oh
could be
God,
any
Leo,
of
you
us.
hit me with the hard questions on the side there, man. Come on, I'm just trying to have some fun on a Friday.
Oh man, I love it. All right.
Well, all right, let's move into next section of our show. If you wanted to throw it up there, Violet.
I didn't know you had this
No
prepared.
year in review wrap-up show would be complete if we didn't do predictions for 2025. And this is especially important because next December, we will be so technologically sophisticated that what we're going to do is play back our predictions from this year to see how accurate we were next year. So very important. So I'm going to slack out and save mine for last, but we can go in order of my screen. Violet, what is your prediction for 2025 in cyber? I guess
really?
limited. I mean, there are other predictions you can make.
I wish I had a profound. Here, I'll do some not predictions. We're not going to have a federal privacy law. We will still be arguing about CMMC. I might add in some later. Those are the first two at the top of my head.
What was the second one? I'm sorry, I didn't
We
hear
will
it.
not be. We will still be arguing about CMMC.
I got it. Okay.
The thing that's replacing the DoD accreditation system for vendors, technical vendors.
I need more flavor as the non-privacy person here.
It's boring compliance stuff. Though.
You need more what on it?
Wait, tell me more on that. I don't know anything about
CMMC is a technical. I'm gonna butcher it, but it's a technical way of vetting the people that work with Department of Defense. So before there was DFARS, CMMC is another level that places them in categories, kind of like PCI DSS has merchant levels. So I would say it's like PCI DSS for the government.
Okay.
And people, they're on LinkedIn, at least, it always cracks me up. I don't know the whole history of CMMC, this whole thing, but I do know, I first saw it, Marsh has a product around it that is cool that they pull that together, but also that there's this history where you'll see these people on LinkedIn that have followed it for so long and must be on that defense contractor side, because they'll be like, we've been arguing this for like 10 years ongoing. When is it going to come out? What's it going to happen? It's supposed to be in effect this month, but I still feel like we're not hearing the conclusion of like, it's in the Federal Register, which means like it's going to happen, but who's going to enforce it, and how long is it going to take people to actually know what that acronym is? Kind of like GDPR. Remember, everyone was just kind of like talking about it for a while. Like, is it real? Are we going to have to really do it? And the privacy people were like, yes, because May blank of 2018. And they had that date seared in their head. But the rest of us operationally didn't click that same second that it went into effect, GDPR. We just got a lot of new emails saying that we've updated the privacy policy. So it's not privacy related. It's technical.
Okay. I just learned a lot. Thank you.
That was quite the specific prediction, Violet. So we're definitely going to play that back next year.
I love it.
Let's move on. Sean Melito, you're filled with predictions. So let me hear a few of them for 2025.
I predict a massive increase in the amount of ransomware attacks, and across the board, all groups. I think that the lull that we saw a few years ago, I think that's well and over, and they need to refill their coffers. And I'm not just saying this because this is what puts food on my table. So,
Do you have? Oh, yes, thank you. I'm sorry, I'm just interrupting, and you're being all nice and polite to me, like the Canadian you are. The question I have is like, what has you predicting that? What do you think is like? Is it a gut feeling? Is it what we've seen the ramp up? Like you've seen kind of like the increases.
Yeah, no, all of those things. But yeah, mostly because it's. I think there's so many more mouths to feed in the ecosystem as well. I think back to my time when I worked at a ransom payor, and we would get the chain analysis reports, and you would see the Bitcoin peeling off and a little bit going here and a little bit going here, and I've been told by inside sources that has continued, and I just think there's as ransomware becomes more known in the space, and more people want their share of the pie. Not only are the number of attacks, but the severity as well too.
I mean, that aligns too with the World Economic Forum saying about cybercrime, right? Like if there is a crime that can be perpetrated more anonymously and more effectively, then people are going to migrate there rather than traditional crime.
Unless, of course, you live in the United States or Canada or somewhere with extradition. I don't know. I mean, the story yesterday or the day before of the scattered spider attacker being arrested in the U.S. I can't get my head around it. If you live in a country like the U.S. or Canada, or why you would be actively hacking, because you're eventually going to get caught. Mm-hmm. So. Anyway.
True words. Shana, how about you? What was your predictions for 2025?
I think on the underwriting side, we're gonna start really looking into systemic risk and how to underwrite around it. I think that right now underwriters have data available to them, looking at who insureds are using as their vendors, but really drilling down, what portion of our books are really reliant on, this is a terrible example, but say QuickBooks, for example. What portion of our book is reliant on a specific software? Can we see some sort of trends and just, make our portfolio stronger in the end? Unfortunately, AI is a thing. And I think that underwriters in underwriting tech, specifically need to really understand the ins and outs of AI. And, if we can get some more industry knowledge there, if someone can really drill down to me, the differences of the different types of AI, that will really help me personally, help my team. But so there's a lot of learning. There's a lot of learning on the underwriting front.
Jason. Huge, man. 2025 predictions.
I'm going to go with the I got nothing now. I'm going to go with the democratization of deepfakes. I think we're going to see a lot more of them. I think they're going to get easier to create, and it's going to become one of the de factos for social engineering. And for companies, that means that you really got to look at how are you managing password reset, procedures? How are you validating the identity of people for different requests? I think that's going to be top of 2025 for companies.
Well, finally, I guess we're closing out the half hour, but my prediction in 2025, which I think is echoed in what Sean said and what I'm hearing from the other panels, is there will be an increase in these types of attacks. But my prediction is that it's also going to increase against individuals, that there's going to be more extortion against persons, humans, you and I. high net worth individuals and other folks. Things like sextortion, things like SIM swapping, things like these intrusions into personal accounts. I think that's we're going to see a huge increase in those, or at least media paying attention to those types of stories. We're going to hear about them more. Maybe they were already always there, but we're going to hear about them a lot more. That's my prediction, and we can play it back next year if see if I'm right.
I'm going to add a prediction real quick before we end.
Do it.
Shanna mentioned AI, and I feel like the name is getting so diluted to mean so many different things. And a very smart person once told me, AI is just technology. At some point, we have to just say there's betterments in technology, and it's part of technology. It's something that technology can do, and instead of just naming it, because it's an action of technology, a process, not. So maybe fingers crossed that we will stop the buzzword of AI so much and realize that it's a part of our new normal.
I like it.
Well, what a great way to send off the half hour. This has been such a great time, and this episode and all of our episodes, we're going to continue this into 2025. Morning Bytes, first Friday of every month. Check us out. Follow all of us on LinkedIn. Follow Shayna. Follow Sean. Make sure you know what we are up to. FridayFunny.law. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.